Good morning, everyone. So this is the final launch event of the new alumni group, Mindfulness After Cam. And my name is Isabel Emery. I'm one of the co-directors. Joining me is Corinne Yo, who's also one of the co-directors, and Dr. Elizabeth English, who is the University of Cambridge Mindfulness Practitioner. So today, in this hour, we will be discussing what mindfulness is, why it matters, the meaning behind it, and we'll be doing some meditations. So without further ado, I hand over to Elizabeth for our first meditation of the morning.
Thanks, Isabel. Thanks. Yeah, hello, everybody. It's lovely to be back and doing another event for the Mindfulness After Cam group. And I'm particularly happy to be part of the launch. I'll tell you a little bit more about myself later. In fact, I think Corinne and Isabel have got some questions. So the format we're going to use is quite interactive. They're going to sort of throw some questions my way. I've got a few ideas to share on the theme, really, of mindfulness, meditation, and meaning. So let's just start, as Isabel said, with a little meditation. Now, some of you may not have meditated before, and some of you may have done lots or anything in between. So I would just say, really make sure you're comfortable. Just do what feels right for you. I think that's a brilliant sort of mindfulness practice anyway, of just tuning in and feeling what feels authentic and real for oneself. So this will just be 5 minutes for us to settle and arrive. And I'll say the odd thing. And as ever, if it doesn't quite fit, just let it go. And if it does, you can just use it to support you arriving, really. So just taking some time to settle where you are, feeling perhaps your seat where you're sitting, or maybe you're lying or standing. So just getting a sense of you here, now. Sometimes people find it helpful to close their eyes. You might want to do that. You might feel the opposite. You might want to look around a little bit, just take in your environment. Remind yourself where you are, sort of orienting. Our nervous systems love that. They love to know we are safe. As I enjoy closing my eyes, I'll do that, but you feel free to do what suits you. And then just settling in, giving yourself time to catch up with yourself, to arrive more fully. There's nothing you need to do here. If you have a way of settling and being with yourself that works, then feel free to use that. Use the supports that you know that nourish you. Or just let go and just explore being. This being mode where there's nothing to do just now. Just settling, arriving. Everything, anything is permitted here. It's just your space. You might find yourself becoming more aware of your surroundings or of your own body or breath. Just notice if that's happening for you. because this is a place to rest. Listening to the rain, perhaps, the sound of your own breathing. Or whatever it may be for you. Just resting in your senses. Resting in yourself. It's as if your whole body and breath, your environment is a support. It's a way of leaning into what's here, within or without. Just as it is, not trying to change anything. Just supports us to be. Noticing if we're approaching ourselves with kindness, with care. Seeing if we can bring a little more softness and acceptance, a bit more kindness into our approach. We may not feel those things right now, but we can be kind in our approach to ourselves. This is just what's here. This is how I am right now. This is what's going on around me. This is life as it is right now, flowing through me and around me. And as we come towards the end of this first meditation, just taking a moment to perhaps appreciate what you've done. It's no small thing to stop and find the time to be with yourself, to be present, even to allow whatever's there. It's no small thing. It can take courage and effort to do that. Just maybe giving yourself some appreciation. Maybe thanking whatever came into your awareness. Thanking yourself. As you begin to perhaps open your eyes if you've had them closed, and maybe taking a little stretch, having a wriggle, stretching out a little bit if you need to. Coming back into your particular environment and surroundings. Excuse me. So thank you for joining us on the first meditation. think we're going to head into a section which will be led a little bit here by Isabel and Corinne. I'll hand back to them.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth, for that lovely meditation. So this event is called Mindfulness Meditation and Meaning, and we thought maybe we could ask you how you relate to this theme and what it means to you.
Yeah, thank you. That question, in a way, is addressed to all of us here. It's to, I'll answer it as I'm the one who's here, but please feel free to use the Q&A, and we'll have some time at the end to explore your responses. Yeah. So thank you for the question. What does mindfulness mean, and what does it mean? What is its meaning? Why practice it? Why are we doing it? And of course, here we are, we're doing it at Cambridge University, and I've been teaching for the last 5 years. It was a new post 5 years ago. And some of you might even have been to my classes as alumni here. Well, why? You know, and we've talked about the research and the success of the research in the previous session, so I won't mention that now. It's more like, why would we want to meditate? Why would we want to take up mindfulness? More on the level of its meaning for us personally and perhaps interpersonally. Yeah. So, yeah, well, what does it mean to me? So, well, I think it relates a little bit to how I started with mindfulness, and I know you were going to ask me about the origins of my Why don't you start with that question, and then I'll get into the flow on what it means in a moment. So, because it does start with a personal journey in a way. I think you had some questions about my past, didn't you? What did you want to ask there?
Yeah, what got you into it, Elizabeth?
Yes, I suppose that. Yeah, all those years ago. That is the logical thing. So why did I take it up? Well, to be quite honest, there's a bit of a secret here. I took it up because I'd just been stood up on a date. Basically, I had, was waiting in for somebody to come and call who didn't. And in the end, and I've been waiting for a few evenings, in the end I thought, do you know what? I've had enough of waiting in to receive this person who didn't come. I'm going to go to that class on meditation. I thought that was something I'd wanted to do. So I was fascinated by the mind. It was a really interesting choice point in a way. It's like, actually, am I going to sit around waiting for something else to happen that's going to make me happy? Or am I going to do something that might just be proactive? I didn't see it in those, I don't even thought of it like that before, but that's in a sense what it was. It's like, can I be proactive? And I think that is really what took me into it. It was a sense of not just my own unhappiness, but the kind of what I felt was the calamity of the world around me. Now, it's interesting because when this was 1983, so Cold War, and I'd been brought up, the fear of my generation was a nuclear war. It seemed very, very possible that we'd all just get nuked. It was the era of CND and all of that. So people campaigning, to ban nuclear weapons. It was a big, big fear, and all the horrors of Hiroshima and everything, that we could all end up, just in some badlands, or it was really serious. So there was quite this sense of imminent disaster, and I was just at university for the first time. So I think that, coupled with my own unhappiness, how do I make sense of this crazy world? It was kind of my entry. And I think for me, meditation was a way of saying, well, there's not much I don't feel I can change the world. I can't do much about that. But actually, and the first message for me was, well, perhaps I can do something to change myself, that I'm unhappy. Perhaps I can do something there to help. And perhaps I can be a bit proactive. And of course, the meditation, the mindfulness really, really did give me that message. I was like, my inner world is changing all the time. I don't know if you found this when you were meditating, just the world, perhaps your mind just goes on. Maybe you had a moment where it all calmed down, but maybe you didn't. Mind just goes, so you think, I've got constant change. This sense of just, I'm just a process, actually. I'm just happening. And who is this me? And it's quite a big question when you're young as well. Who am I? Identity. How do I know who I am? It's a big question. And I think that meditation sort of just helps us settle, perhaps let go of the labels a little bit and just say, well, here is the flow. And perhaps I can just be part of that flow. And the flow of inner events, the flow of outer events, it's all part of me, really. So what can I do? So when I look at that now I would sort of say, well, actually what I was doing, perhaps not so consciously, but I was saying to myself, I can't change the world immediately, and I'd love it to, you know, to be world peace straight away. And right now I'd love it to be, you know, obviously virus free and people to feel healthy and happy. But what I can do is I can change my response to the world. And it's so interesting, isn't it, that like right now, same for me at that time, you know, there was so much fear in my response to the idea of nuclear war, imminent nuclear war. And of course it's so much fear and worry around now, and it's so understandable. But maybe if I can just find a bit more peace and space and happiness inside me, maybe I can respond differently. Maybe that's the meaning for me of mindfulness, that it gives us a way of being with ourselves, which also allows us to be with the world, because we're responding differently to ourselves. So I think we'll all know, just on a very basic level, you can wake up really grumpy, and you can feel pretty grumpy with somebody who's just offering you a cup of coffee, you know, or something. You know, another day you wake up full of love and joy, and you go, how lovely of you to offer me a cup of coffee. You know, it's the same thing, can just be quite different responses, you know, like, go away, you know, I don't care what you say, I don't want to be nice, you know, I don't want to be friendly on one day, and on another day we really respond. So there's so much that's in us that determines how we respond to the world.
Well, we seem to have a small technical pause with Elizabeth. Oh, there we go.
Am I frozen? Am I just frozen?
Yes, you're back.
I'm back.
You're good.
I'm back. Yes, I was just sort of saying, how would we be if we responded, you know, to the current situation today from a place of more, I don't know, warmth, understanding, ease in ourselves? And maybe our response would be less fearful and more compassionate, you know. And how would that influence policy? You know, I think there's so much in this question of the meaning of mindfulness. And I think the very last thing I'll say before I let you come in with another question would be, it's a little bit as if sometimes when we think about the world and, you know, the environment, you know, the way that the whole of our life, the whole of the structures around us that sort of do so much damage, you know, and that so much we can see are harmful, and yet, you know, just the whole virus, everything that's around us, it's so difficult to contemplate. And people sometimes say, how do I think about the environment without feeling so depressed and upset? And I think what it is yeah, I was saying that. What it is that we sometimes we can stand, it's almost like we're too close to the problem. It sort of feels really overwhelming. It's like, you know, actually if we're really close up to all those things and we let ourselves really think about them, then it can be really overwhelming. But we also know that if we're too far away, we can just sort of deny them or forget about them, or just carry on acting in ways that perpetuate, you know, bad environment. We don't think about it, or we deny it. So we don't want to be too close, even though this is important to think about, but we don't want to get muddled entangled with the problem feeling. And neither do we want to be too far away. So you can see what I'm about to say, because we want to be at a distance that's just right. And that, finding that way of can I respond without fear, but from a sense of ease in myself. That's what we're practicing when we meditate. I'll do another meditation in a minute, and it'll be like, well, am I really sort of just caught up and a bit sort of too close to all my problems? They're kind of getting to me. I'm sort of merged and entangled, or are they just a bit distant and I can't feel anything? So what we're trying to do when we meditate, and in mindfulness in general, is just to find a comfortable distance where we can relate to ourselves with this sense of spaciousness and kindness, and that will create a different sort of dynamic, so we can respond more positively, hopefully, to what's around us, because we're learning to do that with ourselves.
Thank you. That was such an insightful response to how you relate to mindfulness and what it means. What I wanted to ask next, if you don't mind, is about how you got into teaching mindfulness, and the course that you've done for the university students. Some of our audience members might have done that in the past. Isabel and I certainly have done the course and really enjoyed it. So if there's one thing you'd like your students to take away from this course, what would it be, and what do you really want to share with the people taking your course?
Yeah, yeah. And this was it's a really hard one to answer because there's so many things that I would obviously want, but can I bring it down to an essence? Yeah, yeah. And I think one is I'd love people to become more and more fascinated by their own selves, their own being, you know, that we can begin to just sort of say, well, not just, oh, this has happened to me today, oh, you know, or life, but we can go, oh, this is my response, but maybe I can take an interest in that. Maybe I, you know, because often it's really scary to take an interest in what's inside, because what's inside might be coming at us, you know, it's really, really hard, or it might seem to drag us in a bit more if we do. So again, it's about finding this sort of a distance, which is the right relationship. So it's like, I love people to go away from the course feeling that they've got the confidence really to trust what's going on inside them. Oh, okay, I'm having this difficult response. Well, maybe there's a really good reason that I'm feeling bad. You know, maybe there are really good reasons that I'm miserable or I can't quite cope, you know, right now, or I'm really stressed. And say, well, okay, let's bring a little kindness there, and maybe I can just be really curious about that, explore it, because all of that brings awareness. And with awareness, we have the chance to just find another way of being. So I'd love people to have confidence to look inside and to feel that they have a sort of freedom to do that, and that they know that if they do that, there are really positive choices that they can make as they do that.
Yeah, I've definitely found that to be a very useful but challenging skill I'm constantly trying to develop. So trying to sit with the negative feelings, or feeling vulnerable, or feeling stressed, but giving that awareness and curiosity and letting myself know it's okay, does change the quality of them. And it's hard. It's really hard, and we don't normally practice it, do we? We like to say in society, oh, this, I'm fine, you know, it's great, but there's a taboo almost on exploring beneath the depths, and sort of saying it's okay that you're not okay.
Yes, that's a really wonderful thing to have said, that it's actually, that's what we're learning, that it's okay to be not okay. It's all right. I mean, I could throw the question back to you guys, couldn't I, really? So what is that, what you took from the course, Isabella? Was, you know, what's the one thing that you took, both of you, that you took from the course? So I'd be curious to hear that.
Yeah, for me, that's probably like the, amongst other things, one of the main sort of skills and sort of just awareness is that, you know, humans, we have a spectrum of emotions, and you know, we're used to sort of amplifying the positive because we like to feel happy and positive, and sort of maybe ignoring or not wanting to investigate and really feel the sort of negative end of the spectrum. But it's really, for holistic health, it's so vital, isn't it? You know, you don't have light without dark, yin without yang, so we need that balance. So and how about you, Corinne?
Yeah, kind of on a similar vein, the thing that I found really helpful about exploring like difficult feelings and things you might want to push away is more about trying to approach them with curiosity, like seeing what is the unmet need that's underneath all this, like looking inside and wondering, you know, there's a good reason why you might be feeling like this, and you know, of course this thing hurts, it's not bad, it just hurts, you know. So yeah, kind of looking at it more kindly and with compassion, and understanding what needs are going unmet can really help you to kind of feel more kind towards yourself and be able to kind of not that you want to try and fix everything, but to kind of be okay with where you are.
I wonder if that would be a good lead into another meditation, actually, just the idea of exploring this idea of what needs. Shall we springboard into a meditation on that theme? I think we were planning to do a few little meditations, so yeah, let's do that then. Let's take those words from Corinne there and Isabel, the idea that maybe there's a way of sitting with difficult feelings, or finding a sort of sense of kindness around there, and particularly this idea of maybe there are some underlying needs which are in our experience, which our feelings are telling us about. So I'll lead a little meditation on this theme. If that's not very clear, don't worry. Hopefully it'll become clearer as I lead the meditation. So again, just taking time, people, just to sit or lie or stand. If you want to stretch a little bit, if you're tired, you might try lying down. Making sure you're warm and comfortable. And possibly also with a bit of alertness in your system, maybe like you're just aware, I'm here. Maybe there's a bit of life in your limbs. You might feel some tingling energy in your body. It's coming into your whole system, your whole body and being. It's a resource, it's a place to rest and nourish ourselves. Just the here and the now, resting in what's here without trying to change it, without battling with it. So we just allow things to be here. Maybe noticing the tingling, the aliveness of our bodies. Noticing any place indeed that feels quite good or alive or warm or just okay. Even just quite neutral. That in itself can be quite a relief. And if you have managed to just find some place which feels good to rest in, to just relax there in your body, it may be in the sounds around you rather than in your own self. That might feel more relaxing for you. But wherever you are, if you've found somewhere, just allowing the nourishment, the goodness of that to be felt and appreciated. Because what it means is that certain needs are being met for you right now. You don't need to think about that if you don't want to, just recognizing, oh yeah, things feel okay or good because my body's needs, my being, the needs of myself, some of them being met. You might even take a few moments to just explore that sense of your needs being met right now. Certain needs, maybe not all of them, of course, but just allowing those responses that we have to show us certain needs are being met right now. It may be your needs for calm or quiet time, you time. Maybe those are the needs that are being met. Or your needs for supporting yourself, nourishing and nurturing yourself. For the growth and the learning that we bring as we do that. And just knowing that there's a whole community of us here meditating together. Maybe that's the support. Maybe there's some need for communality and community, human connection, even in this virtual environment. Real human beings. Sometimes resting in our awareness that our needs are met is very resourcing and give us a sense of well-being. Maybe just naming them for yourself if you enjoy doing that, or just letting the good feeling, the well-being, just be the messenger. That's the message itself. It's as if our whole being has a wisdom around this. It just knows when we're okay. Knows when certain needs are met. And it shows up in feelings of well-being or okayness. And just to change the direction here, if you wish, you may just want to stay with a good sense of met needs, that can sometimes leave a very good space for us to just acknowledge something in our lives which isn't quite settled. And again, our unsettled feelings will just be telling us that there's something of an unmet need here. And it's perhaps one way to just relate to your feelings, that they're just trying to tell you about this unmet need. Whether it's for comfort or ease, health or security, love and connection, whatever it may be for you. So just leaving some space to allow your response. Are the feelings, the body just knows, there's something here that I would love to have more of, or I long for. And it's so human to have this need, to have these needs. We might just say to ourselves, well, no wonder I feel it deeply when my needs are not met. I'm not trying to figure it out or work out how to meet them right now. I'm just allowing space so they can be heard, so that our feelings, our inner being can just be heard, allowed, permitted. This is what's here. Lots of kindness. It's just what happens, no one's fault. Part of being human. And then if you wish, you might also just take a moment to just remember the met needs again. Maybe you want to carry on just giving yourself kindness for what's not met in your life. Or maybe you wish to just go back and just encompass. There are places in me which do feel supported and nourished by what feels good and right or okay. Even if it's just being here for the odd moment in a ray of sunshine or a moment of calm, you can still rest in those places of goodness and well-being. And so when you're ready again, just finding your own way to come out of the meditation, maybe having a little wriggle, a little stretch, maybe even looking around you again, just checking. And here you are in your environment, hopefully warm, hopefully dry, safe, and also together with this community here and now. Thank you. I'll hand back to Corinne and Isabel.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Yeah, that was really, really lovely. Just being able to hold our feelings there and letting them be known and be acknowledged is just a really powerful tool, I feel, bringing mindfulness into our day-to-day lives.
Absolutely. And if anyone has any questions that have arisen from the discussion so far or their meditation, please feel free to put it in the Q&A box. And in about 10 minutes or so, when we come to the Q&A, we'll try and answer as many as possible. So thank you. Wow, I feel so relaxed now. Thanks, Elizabeth. So I mean, another question I'd be really curious to hear from you is about communication and how mindfulness might aid that or play a role in that. And I know you've written a book which I've read, and it's very interesting. And so I was wondering, do you have any ideas or thoughts or tips on mindfully communicating with our audience?
Yes. For me, it's a really a brilliant way of practicing mindfulness, because if you think about it, we might struggle to find even 10 minutes to sit and meditate in a day, let alone 20 minutes or anything. It can be really hard to find the time. But actually, we're spending a lot of our day communicating, so a lot of our day in conversation. So I think to bring mindful conversations, to bring mindful communication into our skill set is a brilliant way of keeping the practice going. So you can be, you don't have to be sitting quietly to be practicing mindfulness. So I have been for several years actually really fascinated by the idea of offering a course at the university in mindful communication, and the wonderful sort of well-being wing in the university is very, very supportive of these other ideas. How do we approach mindfulness different angles, from perhaps sleep, communication, relationships, and so on. So we are actually putting ideas together now. We're hoping we'll actually offer a course, an 8-week course, hopefully in the spring, on mindful communication or mindful conversations. So indeed, the book I've just written is not yet published, but I'm hoping will become a core course book for that. Really, I think there's so many overlaps, but just to bring out one or two, to leave time for people, perhaps in 1:45, we could move into the Q&A session and start. So I'll try to be very precise. One is that if we are able to just to pause as we talk, in fact, just to go as we speak, we have this chance to sort of find out where we're coming from a little bit more clearly. So very often, and I mean I do this, you sort of just go blah, 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 and it's very easy to sort of talk, but this moment of saying, well, actually, do I know where I'm coming from inside? So to know that means to be really authentic, to really sort of, well, this is how I am right now. This is me as an authentic person. So the mindfulness practice is really a practice of authenticity, and how we bring that authenticity into our speech is then a really interesting area, you know, because we want to be authentic in a way that also keeps connection with people. So for me, it's a practice of awareness about what is connection, how do I stay connected, but how do I keep authentic as I do it? Yeah, just maybe going might be enough to bring us into ourselves. I'm saying by the way, not some people think I'm saying but isn't it curious? A student pointed this out, they're very close. So can be very useful. So it takes courage to go because you think people might think I just don't know the answer, but actually, as I say to my students, you could ask your, you know, the people who want quick answers. Say, well, do you want a quick answer or a wise one? You know, because you can't have both. Take time. You need to take time to settle in and then find that self. What do I feel? What is it that's going on? And then we can be authentic. So that's a really important part of that.
I'd be so curious to hear, if we have time, maybe quickly, on how would you recommend keeping hold of that sense of space and, you know, thinking and like grounding yourself in dialogue when perhaps you are in a situation that needs fast answers, or it's high pressure like emergency services, or you know, negotiations or stressful times. I mean, obviously that might be really difficult to marry those together. And is it just a case of practice as well? I don't know, have you got anything to say on that? Any thoughts?
I think on the practice that we also, it really feeds into meditating and practicing taking little moments to sort of be calm and give ourselves space, because then we're used to doing it, and we can just, you know, even do little micro meditations in the middle of a conversation, coming back to ourselves. But one thing I find really helpful is actually something we could do as a little exercise. I know we thought about doing another little mindfulness exercise, so I could actually just have we got time? I think we'll have time to do this little exercise. So basically, I feel what's helpful for me if I'm in the middle of a hurly-burly thing is to know, well, that what I'm about to say or the feeling I got or what's bothering me, it's not the whole of me. Because if I sort of say to you, I am furious or I feel irritated, it's quite a lot for the other person. But if I can sort of go, it's just something in me that's feeling like this. It's genuine. I really do feel it, but it's not the whole of me. I think that gives people that sense of spaciousness. So shall we do one more little exercise now and then open up for Q&A? What a good idea. So I know you'll have both done this. Anyone who's done my course will have done this exercise. But it's one where we just allow ourselves to just come into ourselves. You might want to close your eyes or just be with yourself again. And I'm going to give you a little sentence to say, and I want you to see if it fits for you. Yeah, you just find out, does it fit for you? So just take a moment. So here's the sentence. I'm feeling tired. I'm feeling tired. I'm feeling tired. So hopefully you're just saying that to yourself just now. Just think, does it really fit? I'm feeling tired. Does that fit for me? A little mini exercise. And I'm going to ask Corinne and Isabel to report back actually. Yeah, some of you might in the Q&A. Did it fit for you? What did you notice happened for you when you said that sentence to yourself? Corinne, would you like to start us out there?
Yeah, I did feel a shift actually. You know, before, you know, there's a bit of adrenaline or something kind of masking it because we're live, we're doing this event, but it kind of sort of uncovered the tiredness that was already there. It's not so much changing how I'm feeling, but maybe it revealed something that's already there, or like offering that part of me that's tired some space, and what's really authentic underneath the little nervousness on the surface.
So it did fit. You noticed there was a deeper self. Oh, this does fit me now. And a bit of relief to acknowledge that.
Yeah, that relief, that holding it there.
What about you, Isabel? You might have had quite the opposite response.
Yeah, I did. I feel great. I feel so energized, and it actually made me feel tired.
It made you feel tired when you're saying it. Yeah.
I was so tired, and I was like, oh, bring me down.
Put you down a bit. Yeah. Because you knew initially, oh, this isn't right for me. Actually, I'm feeling really energized.
It actually annoyed me. I was like, no, go away. I don't want to be tired. I want to be. I'm fine, actually.
Right, that's good. That's what I was hoping. That it was great that you both. I mean, this isn't set up, everybody. This isn't just set up. You know, it was just live. But they didn't know what the exercise was, but they had different responses, and that might be this case for our our participants here today. You might have had very different responses. So what I'm trying to show with, I hope that exercise has shown, is that there's an inner knowing, if you like, of our experience. Like a sort of, it's called an inner referent. You know, you can sort of Google yourself and go, am I tired? Am I tired? And you get the answer. Oh, actually, there is a bit of me that's tired, or something here that's tired. Or actually, no, I'm quite alive. But what we've done is we've taken a moment to feel it on a deeper level. And then we can say our truth so much more calmly. Oh, actually, Isabel would say to me, Elizabeth, I'm not tired at all. I'm feeling really energized, like she just did. But there's no edge to it. It's like, actually, that doesn't fit. And the annoyance, the frustration that some of you might have had, don't remind, it just tells us, oh, that doesn't fit right now. So we don't need to communicate the static. We just say, oh, this is my truth. It doesn't really fit. Or indeed, if it does, oh, that's such a relief. It really does fit. So it just gives us a little bit of space around it. It's just like something in here knows this is a truth for me right now. But it's not like, this is how things are, and I'm telling you, it gives some space to both people. I hope that was really helpful. It's a very short little exercise, and it does give us some space for Q&A, but over to you guys to where we take this next, I think.
Yeah, thank you. So you just sort of summarize. So you mean, so even in like heated conversations or stressful situations, we can practice this kind of micro meditation and sort of, and then without anger or annoyance or some sort of other negative feeling, we can just sort of maybe rebut something and say, oh, actually that's not quite the case, and that might be more holistic and like friendly and open.
Yeah, absolutely. Like people make a lot of little throwaway comments, don't they? Like you might be going out with someone and someone says, oh, you're a bit forgetful, aren't you, because you've just forgotten your keys or something, or you're in a bit of a hurry, aren't you? People make little throwaway comments which can actually hurt us, and we want to go, actually, no, I'm not usually like that. It's just because we can get a bit reactive in there. So then instead, if we can take the phrase, hear it, oh, you're a bit in a hurry, aren't you? And we might think, oh, but does that fit? It doesn't really fit. Right now, that is a bit hurtful because actually I'm just trying to look after everyone and make sure everyone's got what they need. So that doesn't quite fit. And then we can save that for later, and then sort of when things calm down, so say, actually that hurt me a bit, or we can just say, just in the well, actually I might be, but I'm okay, or whatever. Or we can move on to their mountain, as I say, and think actually perhaps they're a bit anxious, and say, oh, do you want me to, you're anxious to get out because you want to be on time. We've got choices there. Space and choices.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Really lovely. Thank you so much. So now maybe we could have a look at the Q&A from our audience.
You want me to look at this as well, or are you going to look at it? And
I'm happy to look at that.
Okay, maybe you can read some questions out then.
Someone just on that exercise said that acknowledgement of that feeling of being tired kind of relieved the stress associated with it. So that is a really lovely comment about, you know, having that, letting go of the resistance to not wanting to feel it and so on, and just being able to.
And actually, Corinne, that fitted in with what you said earlier when you said, in your experience, just allowing the space for it to be and acknowledging it can sometimes help. It, some magical reason, it sort of helps it to shift or to relax or something. This is the magic ingredient. We don't really know why, but acknowledgement, awareness does seem to help.
Yeah, that comes in quite nicely into this question, actually. They said, could mindfulness be summed up as just generally learning to let go of negative feelings and moving on?
Oh, this is such a lovely question. Thank you for asking it like that. Because actually, Corinne and Isabel and I were talking about where's the goal? One of you was saying, what's the goal of this? Isn't that right? Is that yours, Isabel? Do you want to say the question? It fits into that a bit.
Yeah, so thanks, Tony, for your question. I guess my sort of similar question originally to Elizabeth was, is the goal to be enlightened? You know, we never feel bad or negative, we move on, can easily move on from everything.
Yeah.
Could it be summarized as that?
Yeah. Well, it's such an interesting question, and I had some good thoughts about it, which of course I can't remember what they were now, but I think really, I think the answer is in a way, yes, that we're looking to find those resources that we've got inside our natural human qualities, which actually include feelings of calm and peacefulness and friendliness. So as we sit and let the dust settle and practice this, you know, those qualities will shine more clearly, even if it doesn't happen in the meditation. You might have a kind of like, oh, it's all over the place. But later in the day, you just, or even over time, you think, oh, I'm just a little bit clearer, I'm just a little bit more free of all of that. So I think that's it. But I think it's a sort of lifelong job of just sort of continually sort of noticing, oh, I'm tightening up, I'm getting stressed on this, and getting more and more able just to let those things go. So I think that is part of it. But I think the other side of it is that I think it links us up with others more as well, or with, you know, the whole of our lives, with the environment and everything that's outside of ourselves. So I think it does also build our relationship, our ability to actually just let others have more space and be as they are. So it just does bring more friendship. And I think at times when you practice, and is it Tony, is it who asked the question? Yeah, at times when you're practicing, it might just be, oh, I'm just trying to do this for myself, or I need a little bit of more healing or help or support in me. And at times it's going to be a little bit more like, actually, I'm just really enjoying the mind and its flow, and I'm curious about it, and what did I dream last night, and it's all kind of flowing in there. And actually that's also very connecting with other people. I'm interested in them. So it'll change. It'll change through time. It'll change from moment to moment. And sometimes it'll be kindness that really gets you. Oh, really such a lovely thing. You feel it for yourself, you feel it for others, you feel more connected. Other times it's more like, oh, I just want to get through this little bit of difficulty here and now in me. Yeah. Thank you. I hope that was a good enough question, Tony. I hope it answered your question, at least to some extent there. Yeah. Have you got any more?
This one's quite interesting. How do you find listening to relaxing music and sounds, e.g. waves and bird song? How can that interplay with mindfulness, and do you use that? Yeah. So I noticed in your meditations you kind of relate to external sounds you can hear around you, so yes, maybe that could relate there.
Yeah. Well, I think the really important thing is that there's no rules in mindfulness. There's no one way that is the right way to do it. And this is one of the things I want my students to really go away with from the course, that you finding what works for you, that's a mindful choice. Really, does it fit for me? We're talking about what fits. So if you find listening to the sounds of birdsong, or real birdsong even, the recordings, and if you find it does help you to calm and relax and become more present and whole, and you feel it has a good effect, then it's a really good thing to know about yourself. I would say though, about any practice you do, it'll probably work for a while and then be less effective. Has anybody found that? You can try, you guys might have found it too. Certainly for me in my life, and I've practiced for I think it's over 4 decades now. Things come and go. So I think it's also really brilliant to be able to have times when you think, well, I'll just try something a bit different, even if it doesn't quite work, just to see if I can build more threads and themes. And just being with my experience without actually having any input is a really, really great way to build a sort of confidence that, oh, well, I can be waiting for a train, or I can be in the middle of an argument or something, and I can just be, you know, I don't need other things around me. So I think it's good to have both, but really follow what works for you, you know, as long as it works. And if it doesn't work, don't blame yourself. I'm no good at this anymore, or I just can't manage it. It means you just need something else. There'll be something else that supports you, but you just need to find it. Yeah. Good.
Thank you. So we have one more question, but I'm aware we have 3 minutes and would really like to share further details of the group, because we've had several people asking about, are there any resources? How can we keep going? So do you think you could answer this one as quickly, Elizabeth?
Yeah,
or do you
quick answer for this one. Good, yeah.
Okay, so Dr. Dulika Raj, I'm sorry if I said your name wrong, has asked, what is the difference between mindfulness and meditation?
Oh,
I do
yeah.
it interchangeably, and I'm curious to learn more.
Yes, lovely. We call it mindfulness meditation and meaning. So basically, meditation is one of the things we do that will promote mindfulness, sort of awareness, helps us learn to be aware. So it's a kind of in-depth, a little kind of laboratory of mindfulness, if you like, your meditation. You're exploring it so really directly. Just here's me and my mind and what's going on. So it's just a way of practicing being mindful. So it's a kind of practice, really. Yeah. That's the quickest answer to go. So mindfulness is broader. Mindfulness is the sort of the attitude. So the human quality. It's a natural human quality to be aware and notice things and make choices and to. So it's, in a way, for me, mindfulness as a human quality is the quality that allows all your other qualities to shine. You know, with more breadth and spaciousness and awareness, all those things which make up mindfulness. You know, you as a person, your natural friendliness and engagement or focus or creativity will have a chance to shine.
Great, thank you so much, Elizabeth. So just to round up, we were thinking about how we can keep our mindfulness practice going. And so that's why we're launching this alumni group, Mindfulness After Cam, to provide that kind of community where people can come together and practice together, stay inspired, and really have access to resources and be able to pick and choose the things that work for them. So if you're interested in joining the alumni group Mindfulness After Cam, there will be a link in the chat where you can join the group. And you can also find out a bit more about the group. So we'll be running future mindfulness sessions in the future, including meditation sessions, some talks and workshops to put these teachings into practice, and also just the kind of social connection that we can have with each other to really connect and bond over the mindfulness community after Cambridge. So if you have any other questions, we also have our contact details on that website, so you can get in touch with us there. But for now, thank you so much for coming.
Yes, thank you. And I just like to say, join that alumni group because it's fantastic. I've been hoping we could have one for years. It's a brilliant community of people very dedicated to exploring mindfulness, and there'll be lots of really interesting events. So well done, Corinne and Isabel.
Thank you. Yeah, we're very excited and hoping to launch next month. And we'll have regular offerings, including Elizabeth's sort of lunchtime meditations on Zoom.
Oh, yes, yes.
So,
yes, the university's invited you into some of our offerings, and the university can come back, as it were, virtually.
So on the link you'll find the Google form to fill out. And yeah, we hope you fill it out, and we really hope you've enjoyed this session. Thank you ever so much for joining. And we hope you have a really mindful rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.